Hey Doodlers, this is Adam and welcome to day 27 of the free 40-day How to Doodle course. Within this lesson, we're going to look at doodling metaphors and abstract words. In previous lessons, I guess since we sort of started this journey, we've mostly sort of doodled very concrete sort of words that we can see in the physical world, such as a lamp, a light bulb, a car, a ball, or whatever it is, a number of different things. How about if you come across a different type of word, a word that isn't physical in nature, that we cannot see in real life? For instance, how about someone asked you, or you wanted to doodle the word danger? How would you doodle that word? What will come up? For instance, danger could be represented as a siren. So then you would think of different sort of objects within the physical world that would represent the word danger. And that's where creativity comes into play. So you have to really think creatively, okay, how can I potentially create that? Okay, another one could be like a bomb, like one of these bombs. Cartoon bombs, as you can see. So that could also represent danger. Or how about a more metaphorical sort of word like time flies. Time flies. So with time flies, we have two words basically that come from that. So we have time and then we have flies. So time, we can obviously, what's something that represents time? A clock. So we doodle a clock. And then we have the hands of the clock, and then we can do that. And flies, I guess we could represent that as wings. So again, wings, time flies. So there we go. There's a clock, and that's the representation of time flying. Easy, isn't it? If you put a little bit of thought into it, and you can get really good results. I guess another thing I wanted to look at in this lesson is the idea that typical doodles that we would use, say for instance, when we think of a trophy, we can doodle a trophy, right? So we can doodle a trophy, kind of make it look, make it look like a cup. Like that, two lines, can make that sort of, there we go, there's our trophy. Now with this trophy, a trophy can represent a number of different words. It represents, obviously, it's a trophy, so yes, it's a trophy, but it could also represent recognition. It could also represent, say, winning, or a reward of some kind. So whenever you think of these words that are, again, these words are not concrete words. And initially they're more difficult to sort of represent in a picture form, but because I worked backwards and gave you the idea that, okay, we have a trophy, and what kind of words can be used to represent a trophy? So we have recognition, winning, and reward. So now whenever you would like to, for instance, doodle these three words, you can use a trophy as the representation of those words. And I have a number of different examples for you below, including within this lesson, a book, coffee cup, and the different meanings, and a number of other words. And I also have a creative challenge for you. Now this creative challenge will be a little bit tricky maybe. I've created a number of different sort of quick doodles and symbols. So for instance, I've doodled, say, something along these lines. And I've asked you to, for this lesson, for this challenge, to create words that you can think of that kind of represent that doodle. Now, a word that immediately jumps out at me is that this looks sort of like a target. So like a target when they're aiming at something, like when they're shooting, or shooting a bow, or darts, or anything like that. But in instance, it could actually represent a goal, because if it's a target, if you're targeting something, that's your goal. And therefore, that could very easily represent a goal. I know it's a very simplified sort of way of representing something, and you could doodle a goal in a number of different ways, but that's just one way to do it. And as I mentioned earlier, there are no right or wrong answers. It's all about getting as much practice as you can with doodling these more abstract kind of words, and using your imagination to figure out what some doodles might mean, and what kind of words you can kind of pull out from those doodles in your own way. And that's a great practice, because it really strengthens your mind, it gets you thinking about things. And as you gain more practice with this, these doodles and these words, these interpretations of these doodles, your interpretation of these doodles will just come much more easily and readily as you move through the process. And when we go through, after these 40 days, when I present you with a variety of doodles each week and help you to build your visual vocabulary, I'll present you with numerous doodles using abstract words, and you'll be able to add them to your visual vocabulary and then use them on a daily basis. And so you'll see down the track how easy and how much fun this can be. So I really challenge you to take a look at this lesson, this challenge that I prepared for you today. Have a look at it. Have a look at all the doodles. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, about 20 doodles for you there. List the words that come to mind when you look at these doodles and submit them. So there's no real doodles here for us to create, but I guess you can copy my doodles, and you can copy all the different doodles that others have submitted for this lesson. And as always, I look forward to seeing your submissions if you feel comfortable sending them through, and I look forward to seeing you on the next lesson. Take care.